Alright, let's go over the Templar Fury, which I've turned into a just a gigantic tank to CC things. Let's go over the spec first. Alright, what does what, right? Put this all onto one screen, yes, there we go. Well, you always start with Holy Warrior and the Righteous Stand. Holy Warrior is a buff that combined with our promotion class gives our auto attacks also a slow. Increases our max health. We do holy damage that can be mitigated, and you can use it to cleanse CCs from yourself. Important one to note. Also, Righteous Stand is here, which is a parry that makes a CC to crowd immune effects, and gives some damage mitigation too. Pretty awesome. Alright, we have two passive clusters in here. They don't really do a lot. And then we've got Judgment here, which is an execute, but also a root. And since we're all about the CC, we're mostly using the root because damage is not really a strong suit. That one's for the root. Down here we've got Divine Light. Deploys a field, does some AoE damage, heals a little bit, and gives us our pips back. With our promotion class, it also knocks down people when we deploy it. You got Devotion right here, which is a small buff that makes me heal the group when I do damage. I've taken this because of the promotion class, and now it is enhanced to remove CCs as well. So really good cleanse. You got the Reproach in here, a multiple attack move where the Radiant Sweep is very important because it knocks down. And the Righteous Smash gives a group buff of 25% increased healing, so that's just good stuff. Up here we got Congregation, which is a pool. It pulls enemies in, 20 meters range, can hit 3 targets. Really awesome. More passive clusters. I didn't take this passive cluster down here because I needed one of these skills, so we're losing out on 40 Spirit, which doesn't matter too much. 10 Dex is like whatever, but 20 Constitution, some Resist All, and some Health are... yeah, a little sad giving that up, but I think it's better to go with all the CC in here. We're tanky enough because we've just dumped everything into Constitution anyway. Up here we have the Righteous Reflections, so when we're parrying we reflect 50% of the damage back if it is a ranged attack on us. The Censure in here is just a gap closer, and if we hit somebody with it, we stun them. The promotion class itself here gives us some extra health, some other things here, and also increased decay on our gear, which is kind of funky, but it is what it is. So the Holy Warrior, like I mentioned earlier, is a little buffed here. The health increase goes up, and it adds the slow to our attacks. Devotion, that was the big old cleanse I was talking about, that cleanses crowd control effects now. Divine Light now inflicts a knockdown when deployed, so those are the changes made by the promotion. And our promotion specialties here. Get a new passive. Whenever we inflict blindness, knockdown, root, and stun, we increase our health by 250 for 15 seconds, and it just stacks up. So the more you CC, the stronger you get, or well, the tankier you get. And then we have Penitence, which is a long-range cone stun. Hits 3 targets, and we've taken the other passive cluster here for the extra mitigation cap. The rest doesn't really matter. Then we go over the majors here. We've taken Freedom Fighter because free action is really good. If we're a human, we get free action, so that's just amazing. Especially because we have a couple of spells that require 2 or 3 hits. You kind of want to be CC when you're landing those, or they just get interrupted. There's also Purify on here, which is a nice cleanse, and it increases physical resist as well. Then we have Runecaster in here. It creates a barrier to increase allies resist all by 2000. So that's the whole raid, that's amazing. And a small passive to get some extra attack power. That's fine. With all of that, our hotbar is kind of full already, so I just had to take some passives that were available. So if we suffer a knockdown or stun, our attack power increases. It's a passive, that's kind of the best thing I could put in there. Same for the sparring, it's just a bit of basic attack damage increase. The Spirit Whip, however, is quite useful because we can enhance our attacks to add slows to targets, and the Spirit Whip makes our attacks kind of cleave. I've put all of the stat points into Constitution just because we want to be tanky and annoying, and we don't really care about doing damage. So that is the spec. Oh, let's not forget about the ult. When we ult, we stun nearby enemies and deal some damage to them. It heals us, increases our max HP by 3000, and as all the other ults, we cleanse CCs and we get a damage reduction buff. So let's show the Spirit Whip first. You can see it just chains, but it's only in one direction. So if I attack the middle one, it will only go to the tummy on the left. If I take the right one, it will hit all three of them. So it just chains in one direction, which is a little funky, but you know, it is what it is. Right, so we have, let's go through the abilities on the hold bar. First one is the jump in there, 20 meters. It takes some practice to land that properly, but you know, if you want to stun somebody, it's good gap closer. The number 2 that we have here is the 3-part combo. A Radiant Sweep is a knockdown, kind of like large AoE around you, really good. The second part of that one is the Righteous Smash, which increases our healing if we hover over the buff here. And it's a little weird on test server, but it's 25% increased healing. Number 3 over here is the Field Deploy Bomb that knocks people down. When you deploy it, then it ticks for a bit of damage and restores some health. And it gives me some pips as well. This field is like really powerful. It was powerful for the Paladin as well, but for the Fury here as well, you want people to be in that field, obviously, to get your pips back. The number 4 is a 2-part ability that has a root in there, or it is in an execute. Let's auto attack a little bit, get some pips back. We can show the other part as well. The execute, yeah, nothing fancy about that one. It just deals some damage. It might help, but you're probably gonna want to use that one for the root. Then our number 5 is a pool ability that I cannot really show because these dummies are rooted in place, but it looks kind of fancy because it just screams at people and then pulls them in. And number 6 is our cone long range stun. The cone is quite narrow though. It doesn't quite say how narrow, but as you can see, we hit the dummy in the back there on the next platform, but we didn't hit this one right here. So it's more of a line than a cone, really. But yeah, it is a stun. It hits 3 targets, so it's good in combination with the pull and the stun. Both 20 meters range. When you get a little close, you could pull people in, stun them, and have a field day there. Next up is our Purify that comes with the free action. It just cleanses some debuffs. You know, it's kind of a long tooltip. You can go over them. So Black Mantle, Frostbite, Pulsing Auras, Damnation, Disease, etc. But it also increases physical resist by 1000. I wouldn't use this just for the resist buff, but you know, you could. Next up is the Devotion. That is a CC cleanse for the group. Looks kind of fancy, but yeah, it's hard to see what it does exactly. When somebody gets CC'd, their first instinct is going to be to break it themselves. So you kind of want to keep that one in the tank for later down the fight when resources go low, ults go low, etc. To really help out your team with this one. Cleanse CCs and you start healing a little bit when you're attacking. The Holy Warrior, like I said, it breaks CCs, so you kind of want to use that for that purpose as well. When you get CC'd, you Holy Warrior up. Increases your max HP by quite a bit, and it makes our auto attacks do some slows, as you can see on these dummies over here. Then we have free action from the major. When somebody is glowing nice and blue like this, it means they cannot be crowd controlled. So free action is just amazing, right? You have 9 seconds of CC immunity for your whole group, so that's just a wonderful thing. When you engage with that, it'll become very hard to stop a hard engage. Plus, we kind of need it to use our 2 and 4 abilities, which are like multiple attack effects, so that is important. And then to top it all off, we also have the Runic Barrier here, which just creates a field with the Rune Sanctuary buff that increases our all resist by 2,000 for the whole raid. So everybody in here is gonna get 2,000 all resist. It's kinda huge. Then one thing left to show is the ultimate here. Kind of looks pretty cool. It's stationary, but it blinds targets. It gives me a max HP buff as well. As you can see, we got like 15,000 right now, almost 16,000, and has all the other properties that ults usually have with the damage reduction, the cleanse, etc., and a bit of a heal in there. We don't have a roll in here because we have the parry. Normally, right mouse button is a dodge roll, but this guy gets to parry. So it depends. You could swap it out if you need some more mobility and forgo the parrying. Depending on who you're fighting. I kind of like having the parry in there because you get to jump into the enemy team and do some annoying CC things and make yourself also CC immune. Like if you deploy your field here where you start hitting some things to get some pips, you could be blocking like this, parrying for a while without really losing a lot of pips. Or you're losing them, but slowly because you're generating some as well, right? So that is about all I have for the Fury over here. You kind of just go into the team with the jump, or you pull people inside of your group, and then you start CCing them best you can. There's a lot of buffs in here, so you got to pay attention to the group, what they need. Maybe they need some cleansing, maybe they need some crowd control removal, or some free action, some buffs, etc. It's a very potent tank. Maybe one of the best tanks because of all the utility that he offers and all of the hard CCs that he has, and makes for a great frontliner.